At the 2026 Westlake Half Marathon in Hangzhou, thousands of runners gathered at the starting line to continue the long-standing tradition of large-scale road races in the city. The event followed a familiar format, with designated routes, organized wave starts, and coordinated traffic restrictions to accommodate participants and spectators. A noticeable change to this year's marathon was the deployment of AI-powered traffic control robots at multiple points along the course. These robots were positioned at key intersections and high-traffic areas, where they assisted in managing the movement of vehicles and pedestrians during the race. Using voice prompts, robotic arm signals, and real-time data processing, they provided clear instructions and helped regulate traffic flow. The robots operated as part of a broader traffic management system, working alongside human personnel. Their role was to support existing operations by improving response times and maintaining consistent signaling in dynamic conditions. This allowed for more efficient coordination, particularly in areas where traffic patterns change frequently during the event. The implementation of this technology represented a practical application of AI in public event management, demonstrating how automated systems can assist in handling complex logistical tasks in real-world environments. Marathons are not just about runners showing up and hitting the road. Entire sections of a city have to shift around the event. Roads close, traffic gets redirected, emergency lanes must stay open, and thousands of people, both participants and bystanders, need to move safely through shared spaces. Traditionally, this kind of coordination depends on large teams of people juggling radios, hand signals, and fixed plans that don't always hold up once real-life chaos kicks in. But Hangzhou just flipped the traditional way and made it much easier for the runners and the citizens. The introduction of AI traffic robots didn't just add efficiency, it changed the feel of how everything moved. Instead of sticking rigidly to preset instructions, the system became more flexible, almost intuitive. When a group of runners approached a crossing or traffic started piling up nearby, the robots responded immediately. They weren't waiting for instructions. They were constantly adjusting, smoothing out moments that would usually turn messy. By watching them, you might think they're pretty simple machines at first. They stand upright, spaced out along the route, not overly flashy. But once you notice what they're doing, it becomes clear there's a lot happening beneath the surface. With built-in cameras and sensors, they track movement from multiple directions at once, quietly taking in everything around them. What really stands out is how they communicate. The voice prompts are direct and easy to follow, cutting through the usual confusion of crowded events. At the same time, their robotic arms move with clear, intentional gestures, familiar enough to feel natural, but far more consistent than a tired human signaler. They're not stuck in one mode either. They subtly shift their focus depending on what's happening nearby, almost like they're paying attention. All of this ties back to a connected system working behind the scenes, where each robot feeds into a bigger, coordinated picture. The thing most of the people noticed was how much lighter the workload felt for the human staff. Events like marathons usually demand a huge number of people directing traffic, watching for safety issues, answering questions, and staying alert for hours at a stretch. With the robots stepping in, the pressure seemed to ease in a noticeable way. They took over the repetitive, high-stress parts of the job like constantly signaling traffic or managing stop-and-go movement, freeing up human officers to focus on what actually needs a human touch. Instead of standing in one spot for hours, they could move around, respond to situations as they came up, and keep an eye on the bigger picture, like crowd safety or emergency needs. It didn't feel like humans were being replaced. If anything, they became more effective. The robots handled the routine, while people focused on judgment calls, communication, and the kind of decisions machines still can't fully make. Another thing that stood out was just how precise everything became. Managing traffic during a marathon is a bit like keeping a delicate rhythm. If one intersection slows down, it can throw everything else off. That kind of balance is hard to maintain for long, especially when fatigue sets in. The robots didn't have that problem. They stayed consistent the entire time. No distractions, no slowing down. Their timing was sharp, and their responses felt almost instant. If runners came through faster than expected, the system adjusted right away, holding traffic just a little longer. When things eased up, vehicles were allowed through in a controlled, smooth way. It's the kind of steady, minute-by-minute control that's tough for humans to sustain. But for the robots, it just seemed natural. The deployment of traffic control robots at the Hangzhou Marathon wasn't just a demonstration. It felt like a peek into the future of city life. Urban environments are getting more complex every year, with traffic, large events, and unexpected incidents constantly testing traditional management systems. A marathon with its temporary road closures, dense crowds, and constant movement turned out to be the perfect proving ground. These robots are part of a broader vision for smart cities, where infrastructure doesn't just exist, it responds. Imagine traffic lights adjusting automatically to traffic jams, buses and trains shifting schedules dynamically, and emergency services guided by real-time data. The robots weren't working in isolation. They were connected to a larger command system, constantly analyzing conditions and coordinating responses across the entire marathon route. Streets became a living network, adapting seamlessly to both runners and vehicles. People worry about safety, reliability, or just how it will affect their routines. Yet the robots quickly won over spectators, participants, and even drivers. Their combination of clear voice prompts and precise arm gestures made interactions intuitive. Drivers who usually face the brunt of closures appreciated the direct instructions, which reduced confusion and frustration. Watching robots actively manage traffic became an unexpected highlight, turning a functional system into a fascinating spectacle. The Hangzhou Marathon didn't just test AI in theory. It showed that these robots can manage real-world chaos, improve efficiency, and earn public trust all at once. For anyone wondering what the future of urban traffic might look like, this event offered a compelling answer: intelligent, responsive, and remarkably human-friendly. Seeing the runners moving through the streets of Hangzhou, guided not only by human organizers but by robots, offers more than just a moment from a marathon. It tells a story about the future of cities. It shows that progress doesn't have to clash with tradition. In fact, it can strengthen and elevate it. The endurance, determination, and sense of community that define every marathon remain just as powerful as ever, while the systems behind the scenes are quietly evolving, becoming smarter, safer, and far more efficient than anything previously imagined. China's traffic control robots demonstrate that technology can handle the high-pressure, repetitive tasks that once weighed heavily on human staff. By taking over these responsibilities, they allowed organizers and officers to focus on decisions that truly require human judgment, crowd safety, emergency response, and real-time problem solving. At the same time, the robot's precision, adaptability, and reliability ensured that runners, drivers, and spectators experienced a level of coordination that would be nearly impossible to achieve manually. This event showed that smart systems don't just make things run smoother, they can actually change the whole experience. Streets that used to rely only on humans can now act like they're alive, adjusting instantly to whatever's happening around them. The Hangzhou Marathon was the perfect example of this, proving that new tech and traditional ways can work together. Runners, organizers, drivers, and spectators all had an easier, safer time because the system was on point and adapting constantly. It's pretty clear that technology doesn't have to take over, it can just make things better for everyone. As cities around the world look to handle increasing complexity, the lessons from Hangzhou are clear. The future of urban management doesn't have to choose between people and machines. It can combine the strengths of both. Marathons, festivals, and public events may remain celebrations of human spirit, but behind the scenes, intelligent systems are quietly shaping a new standard of efficiency, safety, and possibility. In this way, China's marathon traffic control robots don't just change how we manage events. They hint at a broader, transformative future for cities everywhere.